Well, folks, I did it again. As you well know, I have a weakness for auctions, and up on the bench is my newest auction purchase. It is a 224 Valkyrie. So come back in a moment, folks. Let's go over the specifications and the reasons I bought it. And what we're going to do with it today is sight it in with a new scope and then use some 60 grainers to try to get a real fast speed. So come back in a moment, folks. Let's get shooting. Okay, all right. As you can see, here are the 5 AR-15s that I own in all separate calibers, starting with 22 caliber, 24 caliber, 26 caliber, 27 caliber, and 30 caliber. The 223, I've developed loads for 50 grain and 55 grain. 62 grain and higher than that, the velocity really drops off. So I've got a glaring hole here of the 60, 62, 69, and 75 grain that I wanted to fill. The 6mm arc, I've developed loads in a 24-inch barrel with 80 grain at 3,200 feet per second, 90 grain, 95 grain, 100 grain, 103 grain. The 6.5 Grendel, 90 grain, 100 grain, and 120 grain. 6.8 SBC2, 277 caliber, 90 grain, 100 grain, 110, and 120 grain. 300 hammer and a 308 caliber, 110 grain, 125 grain, 130 grain, and I should put down here 150 grain that I just started to develop. So there's been a real glaring hole here. So what type of caliber cartridge combination would fit that real well? Well, let's go into that and discuss it. Okay, guys, as I've stated, you can see by what the chart on the wall is I have a hole of 60 to 69 grain bullet that stays over 3,000 feet per second. And the reloading manuals are completely off in terms of their powder charges, from Hornady to Hodgson to my Lyman 50. I mean, as much as 4 grains off. So the reloading effort is going to take some time. And I want to start with the 60 grain VMAX, just using 2 different powders so that you can see a complete workup, in addition to 1 box of Federal ammo that is a 75 grain that, according to the box, is supposed to go 3,000 feet per second. So we're going to see that. Federal's own reasoning, their 90 grain bullet is supposed to go out to 1,300 yards. Now that's unheard of for a 22 caliber until lately, okay, and I'll go into that. But that's what I'm looking forward to. Now, again, back to all of the difficulties with the 224 Valkyrie that's all over the internet. It had to do with those heavier bullets. It had to do with the 90 grain bullets most of the time. Every video that I've seen, or even write-up by gun writers, when they shot the 60 to 65 grain projectiles, they had great accuracy and they had great velocity. So I'm kind of looking forward to testing that aspect, because there's no reason for me to go 75 and beyond. As I showed you on the chart, that's kind of covered by my 6 arc, my 243. It's covered by everything that is above that. All right, so let's go over this rifle once again. A cross machine and tool complete upper. It has a Ruger 5.56 lower. It has a Magpul PRS Generation 3 full stock that has adjustable comb height and adjustable length of pull. The scope I put on here was a scope that I bought off of eBay. It is a Pinty, P-I-N-T-I. It was very, very reasonable, but I wanted to try it because it has a 56mm lens, or bell rather, and a 30mm tube, and goes from 6 to 25 power. Now I also put on a little bit of a riser on here to get the scope a little bit higher. I go through some arguments with people on why is the scope so high. Well, it's because of the straight profile of the AR-15. If the scope is lower, that means the butt of the stock is higher and would sit up here on top of your shoulder rather than down in the pocket where it should be. So by setting your scope up just a little bit higher, and if you've got an adjustable stock that the comb height can be adjusted, then it sits back down in the pocket. Not only that, but I don't crane my neck. I don't have to come down to the scope. I can stay sort of upright and bring the gun to my eye, and that's a lot more natural for me. All right, so I think I touched upon everything here. Now I just have to get out and shoot it and see if all of the negative gun writers are right as far as this rifle is concerned. Oh, I did thoroughly break this rifle down and clean it. Evidently the previous owner was in love with grease, and there was quite a buildup on the bolt carrier group, and there was even grease inside of the barrel that I had to really scrub out. And the ports of the brake were just thick black. So I cleaned it up as best I could. It's a real tight fit for the Ruger lower. It has a Geisley two-stage trigger. So it's going to take some getting used to, but that's what you go out and try to make a gun work. But for the price that I paid for this, I'd be embarrassed to tell you it was under $400, okay? That's why I bought it. And just this upper alone by machine, cross machine and tool by itself, when it came out, I think this upper came out in 2018, 2019, was $1,200 by itself. So it ought to be a shooter, but we're going to find out. Okay, so the next part of this will be out at the range. This is a long video, so I don't know if I can include range footage in this part of the video. So I really don't know what's going to happen. So for this first 3 shots with CFE 223, I'm going to be shooting the big target because I don't know where they're going to hit. I only sighted in with the 75 grainers. So we need to see where they're going to hit and make a scope adjustment to move on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these first shots out of the way. Let's adjust this downward a little bit so that you can see better. Hey, that looks a little better. Okay, here we go. First shots with the 60 grain Hornady. Oh, got to get the parallax in. Okay. A little further. It's out at 100 yards right now. Let's see where it hits. Oh, look at that. A little to the right. 30-26, so again, that's pretty slow for the 60 grain. I mean, my 223 shoots a 60 grain right around 3100. So we've got some room to go here. .30-10. .30-05, but a pretty good little group. Okay, now I can shoot the little 3-inch targets now. Take a look at this brass. Everything's good. It's a CCI 450 primer, Starline brass, brand new brass. So everything looks pretty good. There's no marks, but it should be. You know, again, on the top end they said 3100. But the other 2 manuals said you should be up to 3,400 feet per second, and that's what I'm after. As you all know, I like speed. Okay, let me go set up the camera again. Let's reshoot. Okay, went up half a grain with the Hornady 60 grain VMAX. All right, I'm going to shoot at the smaller target now, lower left. I adjusted the windage over, so I should be pretty good. but that remains to be seen. Here we go. 3 shots. Oh, I don't see where that went. 3069. Looks like they're in the black. $30.84. Okay, so let's go ahead and go with the last 3 of the CFE. According to CFE, or Hodgson's website, this is supposed to be 3,150 feet per second. So I'm glad I can go up. I feel a lot more comfortable about this now. Yeah, everything's fine. That I can go up in that charge weight according to the other 2 loading manuals, because like I said, they were 4 grains higher. One was like 32 grains of CFE 223, and Hornady here tops out at 27.5. So that's quite a range. Okay. All right. I think I got that sorted. I found the empty case. Reset everything. Let's get to moving here. $31.30. $31.46. And $31.49. Okay, so now let me switch up here, because the next shots are with accurate arms, 25, whatever the powder is, 2520, 2520, 2550, 2520. And I followed the same powder range as I did with the CFE 223. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll just show you the last 3 shots, because we'll sum up back at the barn the whole entire scenario. Okay, so let's set up, get going. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm really pleased with the accuracy. Remember, this is a used rifle. I know nothing about the cartridge. This is my very first load using the Hornady 60 grain VMAX. The only thing I'm disappointed in is the speed, okay? But the other manual said that I can go up to increase that speed, because they said that 60 grain bullet should be going north of 3,300 feet per second. And that's what I want it to do. It has to be better than my 223 Remington. Okay, I'm going to shoot the last 3. One last little thing to talk about here, and that's the case itself. And it is based upon the 6.8 SPC2 case. Now, you all know that I own a 6.8 SPC, and I love it. And so when I was doing my research, as soon as I found out they were using the 6.8 SPC case, I got pretty excited. Well, this is neck down to a 22 caliber from a 270 caliber, and it's a little bit shorter. So it cannot take the maximum capacity of powder that the 6.8 SPC2 can. But as you can see by the shooting, it's doing really well. All right, final note on accurate arms 2520. Okay, it's accurate out of this rifle, but it's even slower than the CFE 223, as you'll see on these final 3 shots. All right, here we go. Final 3 shots. But so far, everything is in that little bitty black at 100 yards. 3163. 3150. 3139. So that was equal to the CFE 223 or close to it. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. It's almost dark anyway. Let's get back to the barn, analyze the target, and talk some more. See you soon. Okay, let's look at these two cartridges side by side. On the right there is the 223, and on the left is the 224 Valkyrie. Same overall cartridge length. The 223 is a little bit longer case, but believe it or not, the 224 Valkyrie holds more powder due to its case width. I hope you can see that there. Anyway, let's go to the targets here. Okay, the sight-in was with Federal's factory load TMJ 75 grain. The average was 29.72, SD of 27.7. Now, this was my sight-in, so remember, I'm moving the scope. Okay, then my very first three with the 60 grain VMAX with CFE 223. You can see a pretty good little group there with an SD of 9. Okay, then over here, here's my second with the CFE 223, 3084. So it jumped up from 3014 to 3084 on half a grain of powder. 12.2, also a great little target there. Then 28 grains. 27.5 was the listed max in Hornady's manual. I think that's low because my average was only 3142, whereas in other manuals it's clear up to 3,400 feet per second. So I think I can go up. But the SD was 8.3, a great little group there. Okay, then on to the Accurate Arms 2520. Okay, at the same 27 grains, 29.95 as opposed to 30.14. Great little group there, SD of 19. All right, then on the second, just a half a grain higher, 27.5. It opened up a little bit, that could have been me, but 30.83, 19.6. So we're almost mirroring the velocity between the two powders. Okay, then up here, 28.8, the max is 27.7 listed in Hodgdon's manual, 3151, an SD of 9.9. So 3151, 3142 groups were fabulous. Okay, folks, so that'll end this video. I'm going to do a heck of a lot more load work up. I'm sure excited about my purchase. I just lucked out. But no matter what, folks, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment if you will. And check your subscriptions, please. But no matter what, as always, may God bless y'all. See you again next time. Goodbye.